Welcome to the Joy of Connecting, where modern professionals share stories of meaningful connection and how it can increase business success, unlock career growth, and create personal happiness. If you like what you hear today, get even more by following the Joy of Connecting on LinkedIn and subscribing to our newsletter that features tips from experts on how to network and connect with more meaning. So here we are. It's Melissa Moody. I'm back. And I have with me today a very special person. Her name is Ashley Laabs. I'm going to start with that before I just keep saying she. She is the most incredible host for another podcast that I'm a part of, which is the Wednesday Women podcast called The Ripple. Ashley and I connected over her incredible ability to put into words the things that we need to put into words. And that comes with her normal role as a ghostwriter on LinkedIn. She's incredibly talented. And it also has come as she stepped into the podcasting world to bring beautiful words to storytelling and drawing her guests out with incredible questions. Hello, Ashley, and tell us a little bit about what you do for a living, but also more importantly, who you're passionate about helping.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, first of all. Really excited to be on the other side of this process with you. So my work is mostly on LinkedIn. I work one-on-one with founders, executives, and small business owners who have trouble figuring out how they want to show up in the world as an expert and how to use their expertise to make great things happen. So I am a LinkedIn ghostwriter and coach. I own a small boutique business called Composure Digital. And we just make that process really effortless and low time investment for people who have a lot on their plate. And I really love working with women, especially. I don't do it exclusively, but I find so many times that women really shy away from owning their expertise and telling their story and talking about the great work that they're doing and putting themselves out there. But we need their voices, that we need our role models. So I love working with women.
Really special that we were drawn together over that, over women, over the ghostwriting, like your work and being out there helping executive women find their voices. Our connection was something special in that we just came into each other's orbit and then found ways to partner together. But you also have, a story to share with us about what connection has meant for you, either in your career or in what you've seen for the folks that you work with. Would you share that story with our audience today?
Yeah, absolutely. I have so many. It's really hard to choose because, of course, a really big part of having a business that's all about LinkedIn is that you're just constantly connecting with people and having amazing experiences. But I will say that there was a time when I realized that networking wasn't just like transactional, smart, strategic moves, and I kind of embarrassingly admit that happened a little later in the game than I would have thought. Because, of course, like you're not trying to manipulate people into working with you. You're not trying to make everything transactional or be like a hard salesperson. But when you're out there networking, like you have a reason why you're doing it.
Yes.
And so it's easy to get lost in that. And I remember I was at this women in tech dinner. It's a really cool thing. It's hosted in someone's home. You all kind of pitch in on a private chef for the night, and there's 20 women there, and you just meet them. You just get to know them. And what really struck me about it was that they didn't lead with like, what do you do and what do you want? It was just these personal stories, and you got to know these really wacky, wild stories about somebody before you ever knew what they did. And at the very first one of these dinners that I went to, I was sitting next to a woman who, it's all like a family style dinner. So there's like platters going around the table. And she served me, as she was getting to know me. She like didn't just like pass the platter along. She served me. And maybe that seems like such a small detail, but in an event where I've been to so many like little startup founder events where everybody's just jockeying so hard, and just sizing you up in like 10 seconds to figure out if they should keep talking to you or not. And to be in a room full of powerful, interesting, accomplished women, and before one even knows your name, they're serving you. It was the most memorable moment in all of my networking to receive that gesture and that kindness and just feel so human while networking. It was such a small thing, but it really left an impact on me.
It's beautiful because actually one of the things we hear often is this idea of when we're networking or building our network or making connection, you give before you get,
Mhm.
but you're literally putting a finger on the fact that the giving was physical, like physically
Yeah.
serving
Yes.
someone. It's a really interesting extension of this concept of how it can bring people together when you give, but literally actually serving someone's dinner, placing the food on their plate. What a powerful kind of moment or act.
Yeah, well, we talk about giving to form connection all the time, but so often that
Mhm.
leads you right back to, well, what's my offer and what's my angle and it can lead you right back to that transactional place. And that's kind of what I was referring to when I was saying that it took longer than I thought it would to really have that humanity and networking feeling hit home, not just the knowledge, but the feeling of it.
Mm.
And the first time I really felt it was when this woman was serving me some chicken off of a platter because she wasn't offering me anything that had to do with her, you
Mhm.
know?
Isn't that a fun that's a fun idea too, which is so the giving, but then also this idea of the offering being unrelated to the giver.
Yeah.
That's also interesting itself. And we do that sometimes where we say, oh, the connectors do it. Oh, you should meet some other person.
Yeah.
It almost is that one step more honest, more human, because as you said, it's divested from the transactional element.
Absolutely. It's not giving in hopes that they'll like what you give them and like keep moving towards being a customer or helping you in some way. It's giving what feeds them.
So powerful. Now, I like that you mentioned you didn't really maybe not learn that, but really feel it
Yeah.
viscerally until later. If you think back to that earlier stage in your career, is there another piece of advice that you would give yourself? Another something that you would say as you're thinking about how do I really build meaningful connections? How do I build my network in a way that reflects me? What would your advice be?
Yeah, that's a great question. And when I think about Ashley in her 20s, she's not that different from Ashley now. I've always been, a type A perfectionist, want to be seen as the best at everything that I do. And
Mhm.
that really led me to hold myself back. If there was anything I wasn't sure someone would like, I wouldn't bring it to the surface.
Mm, mhm.
And I really just focused on my competence, my skills, like how I could help somebody, but like, in that skill kind of transactional way. And I really thought that my skills and competence were everything that I needed to move forward in my life and in my career. And I think the farther I've gotten into my career, it's been about 15 years now. I really do believe that you have to risk the rejection of someone not liking something you have to say if it's real. If it's real and it matters to you, you have to bring it because you're never going to find the people who want to give it to you if you don't put it out there. So if you're worried that like you just went through a bad breakup and you got to
Yeah.
talk about it because it's like you're at a networking event but you're like a human and you're dealing with it,
Mhm.
bring it up. If you're worried about something with your boss, bring it up. Like, bring it up. And not everyone will want to be there for that. That has to be okay with you. You cannot let that stop you from bringing it up because it is the best way to find your people, not just the people who are in a position to help you.
So powerful. What you're putting out there is going to help you pull in the right
Yeah.
folks. It's going to bring them into your orbit. And yes, it may push them away. I mean, tell me a little bit more about that because it feels like such a risk when we were in our 20s. When Melissa and Ashley were in their 20s, it feels like a risk.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, do we think it would have been a risk? Was it a risk willing to take? Was it not a risk at all and we should have just done it?
It's
Kind of not.
definitely a risk and it's because it's a risk based on your mindset.
Mhm.
And I think for me, when I was younger, that mindset was I need every opportunity, everything that I'm qualified for, anything that could help me. I need more opportunities than I actually need just for the security of knowing that I am desirable. And now I've spent enough time in opportunities that I was qualified for that were good for me, but they weren't right for me and they made me unhappy. And it's just like choosing a romantic partner. It's just like choosing your friends and building a home. Like you have to do what's right for you. It is not any different just because it's your career. And that's why you need to find your people, the people who share your values, the people who you can connect with beyond the transaction of your skills and whatever deliverables or whatever. You have to go deeper than that if you actually want to be satisfied in your career. And I don't think that I understood that I could be deeply happy in my career when I was younger. It was just like, okay, I got the grades, I got the degree, now I need to get the job, I need to make the money. And, maybe if you're in your 20s listening to this, maybe you're not ready to hear it. Maybe you still doubt me, and that's like your journey. but but that's what I really learned is that I deserve to be happy.
Yeah.
And the only way to be happy is to be clear about what it is that you need so that you can find the people who can give it to you.
I've heard you as a host on the podcast
Mhm.
ask such good questions that pull that out of people. If I take that same idea to what you're saying now, what are the questions that you like to ask that really get to that in other people faster? Like, how do you get to your people faster? How do you actually, what are the things you put out there in conversation from a question perspective that really help you get to that faster? Is there a favorite question or something of the sort?
Yeah. I wish that I was like a sunshine and rainbows, like super optimistic person. I tend to be a little bit more like the not a pessimist, but like a realist and kind of the devil's advocate person, right? So when I talk to people a lot, they'll talk about what they want. It's usually like clients or they're looking for a new job or something like that. And I tend to ask them, what do you think is holding you back?
Mm.
Because
Mhm.
I'll ask people all the time, like, oh, what's challenging for you right now? Or like, what are you excited about? And sometimes you get really good responses to that. And sometimes people don't necessarily have a finger on it if you just broadly ask them. But if then
Mhm.
they're telling you, like, oh, these are the kinds of people I want to work with, or this is the kind of company I want to work for, this is the kind of role that I'm looking at. And then you ask them, what do you think is holding you back? That's not a
Yeah.
question about like, oh, how could LinkedIn help you? Right?
Yeah.
That's not about me. It's about what's holding you back there. And then that's a really good place to figure out, oh, do I know anyone they should talk to about that? Or do I know any tools, resources, books, whatever? And I think it just makes people feel really heard and helped.
That's a beautiful question. And it gets to that layer of authenticity that you spoke to earlier in a much quicker way. You're not just asking, how well's it going? What's the latest thing you've worked on? Tell
Hmm.
me, put on your Instagram face. You're asking them, what's holding you back? We're all held back by something. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, there's always something. And there are plenty of times when it's just like in our own heads and maybe someone just needs somebody to vent to. But you can do
Yeah.
that. You can listen.
That's the easiest chicken to serve up,
Oh my
right?
gosh, yeah.
Just listening. Now, you mentioned the words, and I love these. Oftentimes I hear it when it comes to building a network and finding community, which is your people. Who is someone in the world of just being a great connector, someone who is an expert at really building meaningful relationships? Who comes to mind when I say that?
So it was the woman who served me chicken.
It was
It
her.
was her. Her name is Julie Pham, and she is the founder of a really amazing business called Curiosity Based. She's the author of The Seven Forms of Respect. Super cool. Definitely check her out. But she is the most communal person I know. Everywhere I go in Seattle, it's like one out of every three people knows her, and they know her just because of her kindness and her giving and her like true friendship. And honestly, I'm always amazed. Whenever we hang out, I'm trying to understand how she does what she does because anyone who has ever met her has a story about her generosity. And I think that's a really inspiring thing to be able to give so much that it's your reputation is as this communal giver. Just incredible.
Amazing. Julie, you will be getting a call from me real soon. Because
Yes.
I want to meet you as well. And I
Yes.
love mortals. Before I let you go back to your day, because we keep it short, we keep it tight here on the Joy of Connecting, I'd love for people to know where they could find more about you, hear more from you, read your writing, anything of the above.
For now, you can find me on LinkedIn, of course, and you can visit my website, composuredigital.com. And there'll be a lot of really good things coming. We're working on a blog, a newsletter. We're working on more interviews. And of course, you can find me on the Ripple podcast as well. We've got season 2 brewing and brainstorming behind the scenes. So you'll be able to find us there as well. But yeah, really excited about all the ways I'm going to be connecting with people in 2025.
Well, you are one of my top favorite connections I've made in the last year. So I can't wait to chat with you more. And thank you for spending the time with us today.
Yeah, feelings mutual. So glad to be here.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, please leave a review to help us reach more listeners. Have a story of your own to share or know someone who should be on the show? Visit www.joyofconnect.ing and let us know. Now go send a short message to someone you've been meaning to connect with. You never know where it might lead.